Blank Check, although wildly unbelievable and unrealistic, is good fun. I hadn't actually heard of this film until quite recently, and I thought the premise sounded really interesting. It's about a young boy who accidentally gets hold of a blank check for $1 million, and obviously puts his name on it and is able to cash it, and the gangsters for whom that check was for, it's suddenly becoming a bit of a crime chase as they're suddenly trying to track this little boy down who has technically just stolen $1 million, even though the money was corrupt to begin with. And that just is unrealistic, but it's great fun. The film was released in 1994, directed by Rupert Wainwright and written by Blake Snyder and Colby Carr. And Brian Bosnell plays Preston, who is a very energetic, curious, lively boy who gets his hand on this money, on this $1 million, and spends it. He uses some of the money to buy a chauffeur, which is one of the ways in which he's able to get around and lead this lavish lifestyle. And he buys this house, and it is really fun to watch how he turns this house into basically a child's playground. And he goes overboard with this money. And also, this was in 1994. By today's standards, this money would not buy the amount of things that he was able to buy back then. But it's really good fun. It's cheesy, it's childish, and I like that. Because you never know what he's going to do next or what outrageous thing he's going to buy next. Especially when the scenes are in his house. It's full of fun and fascination, and it is like a child's garden of imagination. It is great fun to look at. Where are his parents in this? Well, it's awkward. It's one of the things, again, that makes it a little bit unbelievable, because this child would just not be able to get away with this. But once you suspend disbelief and ignore that, and just train yourself to ignore that, it's alright. It's good fun. As an adult, it's not the most gripping narrative. You know how it's going to unfold. Some of the humour is very kind of Home Alone in style. I think it does have kind of a Home Alone vibe to it, but without the festivities. But it's one of those films that you can just put on, enjoy for the creativity, and maybe enjoy the silliness, and not have to worry about being sucked into tangled narratives or complex characters. It's very straightforward, it's very predictable, but it's fun. It's a very childish film, and a great way to unleash your inner child if you're in that mood where you need to just watch something that you can escape into. And I think this works really well. It also makes you question what you'd spend if you stole a blank check for $1 million. It's a good film. It's fun. It's got 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think is fair enough. That's across 18,000 ratings, so it's a pretty well-known film. I hadn't heard of it until recently, as I said, but I did think it was pretty decent. It's done quite well for itself, and it's a film that's still getting attention, still getting recognition, so it must be doing something right. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. Just don't expect anything realistic or complicated.